Parlez de moi, vos amants, vos amants. Parlez-leur de cette fille aux yeux noirs et de son rêve fou. Moi, ce que je veux, c'est écrire des histoires qui arrivent jusqu'à vous. C'est tout. Voilà qui je suis. Me voilà même si les années c'est fini. C'est pas grave, c'est mon pays. Me voilà. Voilà, juste ici. Que j'aurais dans le bruit.
You think you know about relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
You sick? You need medicine. It don't always taste good. Nah, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space alien. I'll save anybody. I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. Yo, GYBB gets your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The sexual revolution's being podcasted, and I am excited. What's going on, my people? First time on a Thursday. It's up to y'all. You gotta let me know if we get the numbers in here. We'll switch the day up to Thursday. Welcome. Thank you for all my peoples coming in. I see people coming in. I appreciate y'all. I'm excited about moving things to today. If we sound good, let me get a thumbs up in the comments section. Let's go. I'm ready. Never did the live on Thursday, so I'm excited to see where we're gonna go with this. Do we sound good, fellas? Do we sound good? Shout out to Xavier, Z and D. Shout out to Ben in the chats. Yeah, come on in and sit down and let's get comfortable. You played yourself in the building. They coming in one by one, the regulars, and then you know what? Y'all got to start telling people about this, that they need to get this work, because I'm trying to save lives, man. I'm trying to save lives. Everybody's still coming in. I'm gonna start, and whoever misses it, Skydex was popping. Yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Happy and and ready to go. I'm gonna put the number up because you know how we do. The number's always up, big time. Let's get the number up. You know what it is, 929-269-4922. Call in, ask me anything you want. I'm open. You got a problem, I'm trying to fix it. That's what it is. Shout out to We God, Don Philly the Bull. All my people's coming in. Make sure you tell your friends. Let's spread this word. This is a movement. We're gonna find a way to stop all the nonsense, all this internet's nonsense where unqualified people are giving advice about something that they don't know what they're talking about. And it is what it is. We got, how do you deal with married women pushing up on you? Depends. I don't know what you mean. You got to be more specific. And that's a question you could call in on. And you know what the number is, 929-269-422. I'm a firm believer that it is not your responsibility to maintain somebody else's relationship. Now, I'm not saying that that's something that I do, but understand something. If she want it, she gonna get it. She gonna get it from somewhere. Jez Warner. I don't know. I'm not sure. JRZ1ER. Spell it for me phonetically so I know it. What's up, Kings? Also, I'm gonna set this the Reddit up. I'm gonna set the Reddit up so that we can get in and talk about this. One of the things that I think is important that I definitely wanted to cover today is the fact that there has to be consistency. What I like to say is congruency, which means the same thing. If we don't have consistency, if we don't have congruency, you don't build trust. And if you don't build trust, you cannot maintain attraction. A lot of times, trust will come from the consistency of safety and attraction. You can build attraction from safety, from a place of safety. And the only way that you can make somebody feel safe is you got to be consistent. If you're doing stuff, Steven St. Victor, thank you on the Cash App. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Y'all see I put my QR code up. I'd appreciate it. I mean, I understand everybody ain't in a place where they can do that, but if you can, please help me out, man. This is an expensive project, and I'm coming out of pocket, and we need to get the numbers higher so that YouTube and Patreon can finance it. But until then, it's coming out of my pocket until we figure it out. But what I was talking about is the consistency and congruency, the fact that you're consistent. You gotta be consistent. If you're not consistent, women perceive it as incongruence. Incongruence means that they can't trust you, and if they can't, or indecisiveness. If a woman perceives you as indecisive, she will take it as dangerous. So this is something that I've said a bunch of times, that we have to, when we talk about ACE and we talk about the empathy part of it, the only way that you can get the women that you want, have the relationship, find the wife that you want, have the relationship that you want, is that you have to be the best version of yourself. But the only way you can understand this is by understanding the empathy part of ACE, which is that women go through things that men do not go through, and they don't understand. Jonathan, what's up? LK in the building. Thank you. Cheers, brother. What I'm saying is that there is a situation where clearly, if we don't understand how women think, because they think distinctly different than we do. And if we are under the impression that they think the same way, then we're going to expect things from them that they're just not emotionally willing to provide. And I mean, I really think that we have to understand that. So one of the things that the way that I expound on this, or I show that this is the case, is because if you ask any woman, when she goes out, when she gives a guy her number, her safety is at risk. There are, I know it's not people in my chat and it's not people in my, hemisphere that are like this, but we all know guys that are predatory, and women have to have their guard up because there are predatory men. And it may not be you, but how do they discern the difference? So in my mind, what I perceive is that this is a something that's ever present. The fact that every time they give a number out, every time they go out on a date, every time they have a conversation with somebody they have to consider whether or not you are dangerous, whether you're a rapist, whether you are an SA, you're a sexually, it's just, they have to think about that. And that's something that men don't have to think about. Men don't have to think about the fact that you could get taken advantage of out on a date. Most of us are hoping that's what happens anyway. And so I think that when we start at that level, right? Just put yourself in that position. Put yourself in a position where you have to go, where every time you went out on a date, you'd have to worry about somebody taking advantage of you. Can you imagine what that is? It's crazy. I'm going through the comments real quick. I'm gonna get back to that, but I see there's a couple of questions. Can I have Dante? Can you explain what a Pookie and Ray Ray is and how they stay winning? I don't know what a Pookie and a Ray Ray. I'm assuming that when somebody says that, they're talking about, a guy who's like low class or hood or whatever. But I mean, I don't think that's a relevant question, because what happens is there are people who maybe get girls, maybe are able to maintain to achieve a high body count based on lies and deceit. But trust me, it all comes out in the wash. I don't care what it is. And the reality is that you don't have to do that to get a high body count. You don't, that's not something that you have to do. In fact, you actually do better by telling the truth. And I'll explain that in a second. Gon says, can I have a side chick as that my partner knows about, but don't allow her the same thing? Is that too selfish? No, I don't think that's selfish at all. I mean, look, well, let's put it like this. It's not, that definitely means it's not an equal situation, but let's be honest, when is there an equal situation? When do we ever have a relationship where it's 50-50, or that it's an equal situation, that what you're expected to be as a man is the same thing that a woman is expected to be as a woman? No man goes out with a woman and checks her resources and what her assets are because they're looking for a woman who's gonna be able to provide and keep a roof over their head. So innately, the relationships are they're not equal. I'm not saying that they're not fair, but I think to look at it as if we're talking about equal or fair or selfishness, I just think that's an absurd concept, because when you really think about it, what you're really saying is, I should want the same thing that she wants. And that's just ridiculous. It's just not true. If you wanted what she want, then you'd be gay. Make sense? We don't look for characters in women that that men have. We just don't. And women don't look at men for the same characters that they have as women. It's just not the same. I mean, I'm not saying that's always the case. I mean, there's definitely femme lesbians that like femme lesbians, and I've never seen two stud lesbians date. Like, yo, my man, yo, mama, yo, I love you. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen that, but I'm quite sure somebody rocks like that. I don't know. I mean, I think what the better question is, the better question is, what do I want? What makes me happy? Understanding what, if I define myself, if I define my happiness, what is that? And how can I find somebody that facilitates that? Whatever that is. I mean, we have absolutely seen situations, right? I mean, we know about this. I mean, there's this whole idea of cuckolds. It's a whole genre of pornography where guys literally what turns them on is them having other men having sex with their wife or their woman and stuff. I'm not here to judge that. What I'm saying is whatever floats your boat. And I'm not saying that you can't have a side chick that's low, that's faithful to you. What I call, it's or what I call it soft swinging. It's like you can sleep with other women, but your wife can't sleep with other men, or your partner can't sleep with other men. But I mean, who are we to judge what floats somebody's boat? I mean, aren't we at a place right now where we're trying to accept where people are and what they do and what they don't do, as long as they're not injuring or hurting or taking advantage of somebody, as long as they're consenting adults? And so you can have what you want. You just can't have everything you want with everybody. You can't have that. Everybody's not going to put up with it. But how do you know what you're capable of having unless you state it? You have to state it from an honest perspective. This is who I am. This is what I want. I have a shout out to my man Celino. I don't know if he's listening, but Celino's a dude young kid that's been consulting with me for, I don't know, maybe four years now. And as a young dude who absolutely in his early 20s is absolutely trying to sow those wild oats. And he honestly wants to kind of play the field and mess around and meet different people and do whatever he wants to do with whoever he wants to do it. And I'm really proud of him because he's a kid who has learned to tell the truth. So especially these young girls who get the puppy love and, they're in the university or whatever, and they meet him and they like him. And because we've been consulting with each other for so long, he got swag. And he's like, listen, I'm not really into a relationship right now. I love being with you, love spending time with you. And because of the fact that he's setting the boundaries, he's able to be much more kind than somebody who's lying and cheating and trying to misrepresent himself. And so, sure, sometimes he'll get a girl and they'll stick it out for a long time, and some of them will be dishonest about the fact that they're willing to put up with what he wants to give, or they're good enough with what he puts out. But ultimately, sometimes they go, well, I had enough of this. I want more. But what I try to tell him all the time is that, dog, if you stay righteous, because you're going to find a bunch of, we all know, guys. I mean, this is this little crew, this little movement that we're starting, where we're telling the truth and being credible and verbalizing what our preferences are. That's men, women alike. And then finding the people that fit with you. We're taking those traditional norms of what we think should be or shouldn't be. I mean, that's fine. But if that's not how you think, or that's not how you feel, or that's not how you want your life to be, how do you stick in those norms when it's not natural to you? It doesn't even make sense. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Call in, talk to me. Somebody talk to me. Any ladies in the chat, call up, send me a message, call up, and I'll I'll push y'all to the front of the line because we always got dudes calling, and I love to get a woman's perspective. I think a lot of times I'll get questions from guys about certain situations, but it always is always a situation where if you go back to the basic fundamental principles, the answer is already there. Hold on. Come on. Let's get it. Let's go. Hey, what's your name and where you calling from?
Daryl from Rhode Island.
What's up, Daryl? How are you, brother? How can I help you?
Yeah, I want to further elaborate on what you've been talking about, kind of defining what I want in life, not doubting myself, knowing what makes me happy. You know? I feel like you mentioned before in other episodes, like building me a house on a swamp, you know?
Right.
And I feel like if I was hoping you could elaborate a bit more on that. I feel like I've been in that position before where you have the girl, you have all these good things going on in your life, but like the foundation, you know, you're not exactly like feeling like, oh, this is where I want to be, you know, like,
right.
I guess, how do you define what makes you, and when do you know those things are, you know, what you want, you know, like,
okay, so are you saying you in terms of your personality, or you in terms of how you want to move forward, or like, yeah, I need you to elaborate a little more.
Yeah, I think just defining like who you are and basically how you want to live your life. You decided, you know, you wanted to become a comedian and you did not stop, you know. Sometimes you can start something, you stop, you know, you doubt yourself, you start taking a class, you stop taking it, you know, like.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of times we do things and we stop doing it, right? Because we don't want to, you know, I think we get to the point where we don't want to fail. And so we want to discern the difference between I'm doing something and I don't want to do it anymore because I don't like it, or am I not doing it because I'm afraid to fail? Like, fear is the soul killer. I mean, there's so much of which we don't do because of fear, right? So for me, it was really a question. Like, well, first of all, a lot of what I did, I just kind of fell into. Like, I was so busy just living my life, and I think and it's funny because I say this sometimes, that I was a scary kid. I was scared of girls. I was scared to fight. I was scared to defend myself. I was scared to ask for things. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that my dad was always a guy who, you know, my dad grew up in the 1920s, and it was a period of time where there wasn't any abundance, you know, and that's what he learned. He grew up in the Depression, and so he was always worried about not having enough and so on. And he kind of instilled that in me, and so I spent majority of my childhood trying to overcome the fears and the things that he put in my head. So for me, I just I fell from one situation to the next. I liked animals, so I went to. I mean, it's funny because I ride a unicycle. How'd I ride a unicycle? Somebody left the unicycle in the house that my father owned, and he one day brought it up and he said, "You want to learn this?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot." I went to school on a partial scholarship, on a fencing scholarship. My dad knew a guy who was teaching fencing. He was like, "Yo, you want to fence?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot." And so a lot of my life was just it was really just a matter of me living life and going through various situations, and just opportunities came to me and I made those. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do this. The only thing that I ever really did specifically, like, set out to do was stand-up comedy. I always loved it, always wanted to do it, always had a desire to do it. And a lot of times I was afraid to start doing it because I was afraid I was going to fail. And that was the only, but everything else I just kind of fell into a place. Now, prospectively, I think if I had the wisdom, or if I was listening to me talk when I was in my 20s, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not, there's no spilled milk. Like, I'm not upset because I didn't do certain things. But I would have asked myself, what do you want to do? And what is the degree of sacrifice that needs to be made? Am I willing to be able to make that sacrifice? And if I am, I would have followed through with it. There's things that I wish. I mean, I took piano lessons for a while. I wish I had stuck with that. I took drums. I would have loved to play more instruments and stuff. But it just, I always kind of, I didn't have the discipline at the time to kind of stick with it in a way to make it real for me,
Yeah.
But I think, how old are you?
30.
So, I mean, you're a young dude. I know guys who are 30 think they're old or whatever, but what I'm saying is you literally just ask yourself, look yourself in the mirror and ask you, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want this to turn out? I'm 58. Think about this. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be at when you're 50 years old? And then because here's what's important. I've used this analogy plenty times. If you want to get an Uber, right? There's two things you need to know: is your current location and your destination. If you don't have a current location, the Uber can't pick you up, and if you don't have a destination, they can't take you where you're going. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, I think it's just defining it. When you're like, I want to, by the time you're 50 years old, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
It's tough being like, I've tried a bunch of stuff, dated a bunch of women, tried different careers. And it's just like knowing what that is, because I feel like that helps you create that foundation. Like, I want 3 houses.
I also think there's a situation where you got to stop saying no. Like, right. I was afraid, and because when I was young and when I was afraid, and I always said no. I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do that. I'm afraid of this. And when I stopped saying no, opportunities started happening because I opened myself up to it. And then once I started saying yes and started experiencing different things, then I could choose what I wanted. If you don't have options, right? Like, you ever go to a Chinese buffet? And or an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the first time you go, when you get your first plate, you grab a little bit of this or that, and your pile is piled up, right? The second time you go back, right, there's things that you ate that you didn't particularly like, and you don't go back and get more of that. The second time your plate is a little more focused because you've tried everything, and now you go, well, I like this and I like that. The third time you go back is specifically the things that you like the most. And I think life is kind of the same way. You have to say yes. You have to explore things. You have to challenge yourself. And if you do that, I think and then you're asking yourself, what do I like? Like a distinct question where you're having this dialogue with yourself. And then you put a pin in what the destination is and then start to work in that, because what's interesting is your brain will keep you, if that is your goal, your brain will keep you focused on where you need to go. So every time you veer off and start doing something that's not that's not going to get you to the goal, it. And it unless you're on a journey to sabotage yourself, which is a whole nother thing, because we could talk about that for an hour, because you don't have any self-worth, even when you start to get to where you want to go, you sabotage it because you don't really want it, Right. But I think it's just a question.
That's a part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Or you start getting into it and then you just stop,
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times we start getting something that we don't think that we deserve, and because we don't think we deserve it, we sabotage it. And this is happening to us subconsciously a lot of times.
Yeah. I haven't heard you talk on that before, but I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. But I think you're 30 years old. I mean, and you're at a good time where you have enough. Your brain is fully, formed, and you can ask yourself, what do I like? What do I want to do? And what I want to do? And then stay away from the stuff you don't want to do. So it is what it is. But man, thank you so much for calling, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we'll have to see some video of you on the unicycle. Hopefully.
Yeah. Call back and tell a friend, please. Bring a friend with you next time. All right.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, peace. Phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. Phone lines open. Y'all can call in. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh man, I hope this phone is working here. Hold on, give me a minute. Because I don't see what I might have to restart the phones again, but we'll see if we need to do that. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart this. Sorry about that, guys. Let me check the I'm gonna try and keep talking while we're okay. Yeah, we're in. It's coming. All right, cool. All right. Phone lines are open, people. Call up 929-269-4922. I think what's also interesting is and I've said this a bunch of times, is the scariest thing and the greatest thing that I heard in my life, or the thing that I learned in my life, was number one, that I could pretty much do whatever I wanted to do. Whatever that was, I when I had my youth, I could do whatever I wanted to do. And the scariest thing was that same sentence, that I could do whatever I wanted to do, because now anything I don't have is, I don't have it because I didn't make the sacrifices, and me not having it is my fault. I just had a guy on a phone call 30 years old, man. Can you imagine? Let me think. Let's say something as simple as playing checkers, right? Let's say you spent 3 years practicing how to play checkers. In 2 years, you'd be a master. Nobody would be able to beat you in checkers. And, here we go. Come on, man. Gosh, here we go. Yeah, I'm going to have to restart this thing. Hello. Let me see if I got him. Come on, man. Let's see. Hello? Yeah, let me restart this. This is not working right now. Jeez. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Call back in a minute. Let me just restart the phone calls. One more time. Man, here we go. Yeah. Let's reset it. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see who's in the talk while this thing's booting up. Who's in the chat? All right. Phone lines is open, people. Phone lines is open. Bandicoot, call back, bro. The phone lines is open. Yeah. I think that, if you, like I was saying, if you're playing checkers and you play checkers for the next 2 years, if you play 10 games of checkers every day, man, you're going to be a master of checkers. And so, but I think what happens is we want everything so instantaneously, and we're not willing to make the sacrifices that we need to make the sacrifices to get where we want to get. But it's really kind of easy once we realize that, it takes a little work, it takes some work, it takes some energy. And if we're willing to give that up, we can have the benefit on the other side. Bandicoots, call in, the lines are open. I mean to send you the voicemail. LK says, how do you stop from the self-sabotage? I think in order to stop the self-sabotage, you got to figure out what is the origin of it. Why are you sabotaging yourself? Why are you putting yourself in a position where over and over again you make the same mistakes over and over again? A lot of it, if we boil it down to the base, what I find it to be the case is that you are receiving things or some benefits or some a level of success, and you don't think that you're worthy of it. You will find this in every sense of the word. You will find people who have jobs who all of a sudden they don't feel as though they deserve it. Let's see. Why is this doing this? Okay, let's see. Hello?
To accept, press 1.
There it is. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Preston from Jersey.
From Jersey. What's going on? What up, kid? How you doing? How can I help you?
I'm good, Dante. I got a kind of convoluted. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to explain, but my issue is
man, your phone sounds crazy. Are you on speaker or are you on a headset?
Hold on. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear? Oh,
yeah, that's better. That's better.
All right. So I don't know if you heard. I said it's kind of convoluted. I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to explain.
Okay.
And it makes sense, but
well, you talk and I'll ask questions and we'll get to the bottom of it. All right.
All right, so it's funny that you was talking about self-sabotage. I think it's a little bit in this, but basically my issue is I've done the thing where I can have 2, 3, 4 women at a time.
Right.
My issue is I try to I like to keep them all different, and one of the
when
things
you say
that I
keep
can't
them different, you mean they're different in terms of the type of
this
women they are.
Yeah, like this one might be artsy, so I do my museum stuff with this one. This one might be the party girl, I'll do the partying with this one. This one is poetry. Yeah, so one of the things that I can't lock down is how to get a threesome out of the party girl.
How to get the what?
How to get like a threesome or a kind of a more open with the party girls. And that might be because I'm limited myself to the party girl.
When you say more open, what do you mean? Are you what? I'm not sure what you mean by you got the party girl. You want her to do what, or what you want to do with her?
So when I do my screening, you can kind of tell like this one is a little bit sexually explorative. So I pick up on that. I find out, they bisexual or whatever. I can't get past the point where I always get stuck at this part. In the beginning, I'm transparent with everybody. I'm not monogamous. That don't mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's not poly, but it's like not monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
This, I'm not trying to be boyfriend, girlfriend for forever.
Right.
So they understand that. And I'm like, yo, you bisexual, you ever did this, that, no, or yes, and we could do that. After that is like, so much time will go past that when I bring it up again, they're like, well, I already like you now. You can't do it anymore.
Okay.
Because you waited too long because now I like you.
I mean, so you're doing that. I mean, you're doing that yourself, but I mean, you're also creating a situation where what you're doing is you're saying, I want to keep it moving, but you're giving boyfriend vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why are you giving boyfriend vibes? It's a way of you making sure that you keep this shit. Or maybe it's just that's how you are. Maybe you're just attentive and stuff. But there's absolutely a time where I mean, first of all, like if you start off with boyfriend vibes, right? I mean, are you bisexual? Are you this, that, the other, right? If that don't jump off fairly quickly, she's gonna like you, and then she's gonna want you for herself. I mean, that just makes sense. Do you know?
Yeah, how do I shut that off? Because you want them to like you, but it's a conundrum because it's like I want you to like me, but I don't want you to like me so much where the reason I like you, I don't even know how to.
You're saying the reason I like you, I can't cross that line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but what you're giving her is you're also falling into that boyfriend vibe. I mean, it's not to say that you can't be nice and you can't be, but you also, whenever that gets, you have to be actively introducing the fact that you have attraction with other women, and even the fact that if somebody you're out with her and somebody's somebody you see a girl that's attractive, you like her, you think that you have to introduce that. So what you're doing is creating the foundation of the fact that this is kind of sexually playful.
Okay, so
but
don't wait
you're
for
giving
them.
her boyfriend husband vibe, and then you like, let's swing. So and then the longer that you give boyfriend husband vibe, you're in a situation where you're absolutely gonna not be able to cross that line anyway. Now that could happen anyway. I mean, you can get somebody who wants to swing, somebody wants to be sexually open like that, and then you give them boyfriend vibe, and then they stop wanting to do that. I mean, like, you could actually be swinging and having threesomes and all kinds of stuff, and then they go, I don't want to do that no more. But you have to make it explicitly understood that this is who you are, and this is what you're going to do. And you have to keep that. See, if you like, so here's what one thing I tell a dude to say, look, that's not your girl. If she didn't say, I want to be your girl, and then y'all had this conversation, right? So if she's making moves outside of you and you didn't have that conversation, you got no right to that, right? To the same token, right? The same thing is the opposite for a woman. Just because you didn't have that conversation doesn't mean that she doesn't think that she has the right to whatever she wants. So you have to introduce that often. And always, anytime it feels like it's exclusive, you have to be like, so let me ask you this. If you're with a girl and she's kind of she's saying she's bisexual, and she says, what you doing tonight? Do you tell her, I'm going out with my other chick, blah, 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 or do you go, or do you hide it?
Oh, no, I had a situation where a woman knew, and it sounds bad, but she knew or whatever. I walked into the other girl's house and, I'm talking to her, whatever. Long story short, I get back after I'm done what I'm doing. She said, that was kind of hurtful. I know that you got these girls, but I overheard it. But that's how I'm like forthcoming. Like, you don't have to, I don't want none of them to know each other.
Yeah, but but understand something. If she says that's kind of hurtful, what did you say? What was your response?
Let me see. This was a minute ago. I might have said something along the lines. I said something like, all right, I respect, your feelings, and I'll try to make sure that my phone is off the next time I go see her.
Yeah, but you understand that what you're saying by that, you're saying I'm gonna do what I want to do, but you're not saying I'm gonna do what I want to do. You have to be as open as you want to be in this, and you say, listen, I understand that you may have feelings about that, but this is how I rock, and I respect you enough not to hide something from you. I'm also not going to contort and put myself in a position where I'm acting different because of the fact that you may be upset about this, because what you're really doing is lying. What you're saying to her is, look, if you want me to lie to you, I'll lie to you. Make sense?
Yeah. We had that conversation basically, yeah.
And I think you got to be honest. So you got to be, this is what it is. And I'm going to do this, and I'm also not going to consort myself. And if, you know what I'm saying, if you want to hang up or whatever you don't want to, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to hide this from you would be to lie about it.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
And I mean, I think that's what you're doing, and that's what you're doing. You're saying I respect your business, but I'm gonna lie to you if you want me to. But understand something: if she's already doing that anyway, then she's not open for a threesome.
Yeah, no, this wasn't one of the ones that I get what you say. That's not one of the ones that was
right. And also, you got to understand something: somebody that wants a threesome, they got to be into it as much as you are into it. This is even when it comes to that, you can't be in a situation where you want to have a threesome with somebody who doesn't want to have a threesome. First of all, it's going to be a crappy threesome. Somebody who's go ahead.
That's the other side of it. So with the self-sabotage, when I said initially, I'm so like like shell shock. I've been offered, like there's been women who I've been, like we talk or whatever, and it's been offered to me, like, yeah, me and my friend, but I'm so shell shocked that it's like I don't even believe you to try to pursue anything because I've been burnt so many
let me ask
times.
you something. How many times does that happen?
About 2 or 3 times.
Okay, so how many times is it gonna be before you stop being shell shocked?
That's why I'm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. The first time, fool me once, shame on you. Shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point in time, you can't keep telling me you're shell shocked.
Yeah.
And because and I get it that you may not want to hurt somebody's feelings. I absolutely get that. I go, but you gotta, but here's what happens is you don't mind hurting your feelings. You don't mind putting yourself in a cage or in a situation. It's funny, I did a consultation yesterday and I was saying, you have to, like, guy was telling me that he was talking to this girl. They went on 2 dates or two dates, nice, good dates. The dudes got little papers, so they had a nice little time or whatever. And the girl was, he hadn't spoke to the girl in 3 days, right? And I go, I would never call her back. I mean, I would talk to her if she called me back, but at the minute she calls me back, I'm like, look, I don't have a problem with you doing what you want to do, and you want to keep this. But what I do have a problem is the fact that you're disrespecting my time. Right? And if you're disrespecting my time, it's not okay that I text you and you text me back 3 days from now. Now, a lot of guys would say, don't do that because you look like you're getting played. But it's not about being played. It's about you realizing what your standards are. And if she doesn't like it, you give her a way out. I mean, I think you're doing her a favor. Because if she's somebody that doesn't have time for the capacity for a relationship at the time, whatever that relationship, even if it's kind of open or it's once like, if y'all are not matching up, then talk about it so that you can kick it to the curb and move on with somebody who's willing to get down with the get down.
I got you.
What you're doing is you're trying to hold on to all of these pieces. You're trying to keep all these plates spinning, right? And then you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. And then this, and then the other thing. There's a lot of this. You're not. You may not be the dude that you think you are. You feel me? You may not be the dude who's willing. Because what you have to do is you gotta. If you're gonna do that, you know that there are gonna be women that like you. And that if you want to be the dude who's doing threesome and keeps 4 girls around, like, you got to be able to say, this is what, you got to have the balls to say, this is what I want, this is what I deserve. I totally get that if you're not down with it, but if you're not down with it, it's probably best that we move on.
You know what? That I see exactly. That's the initial conversation, and then after that, it kind of just drag on.
Right,
to the
and then
point
you punk out. You go on the front end, and you think, well, I was up front. Yeah, but but she's telling you, it's a weird thing. Guys will, like I always say, closure is for suckers. When somebody's doing something, you know how to interpret their actions. So if you know what their actions is saying, and then you act like you don't know what it is, and because she didn't verbally say it, right, then all of a sudden it was never said, so you don't know. It's crap. It's just not so.
No, yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
I watch them drag their feet a little bit. I understand what you're saying.
All right, bro. Let me go. I'm going to take this next call, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, brother. Yeah, it's a weird thing when you get, it's. I'm gonna tell you something. Something is. Damn, that call didn't come through. Gosh. Call me back, bro. I lost that call. Call me back. The funny thing is that you gotta understand is you if you know who you are, you have to feel as though that you're worthy of asking for what you want. And if you don't ask for it, then guess what? It don't happen. But if you get somebody and they're introducing a threesome, then all right, let's get it. Let's get it popping. But if you're giving boyfriend energy because you want to keep all the plates spinning, this goes back right to the same old thing that I always say, Ace. It's authenticity. You're not telling the truth. Understand what I mean by that. Omission is still a lie, especially when you're reading the emotions of somebody and you know what they're thinking. You know when somebody likes you, right? You know when somebody is all about you. The point is, there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't think that you should be in a big shout out to Sandra. Thank you so much for sending me something on the Cash App. Cash App is coming in. I got my little QR code up, and y'all, I really appreciate that. Really, 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 truly appreciate that. But what I'm saying is that you gotta be, and don't get me wrong, I'm saying this for a woman too. If a woman is saying that she wants a guy and she wants him monogamous guy, right? And she wants this dude in that way, she has to state that. This idea of us understanding what it was supposed to be or the assumptions of it, it needs to be said. If a woman wants a monogamous guy or she wants to get married, she's got to say, yo, I am dating with the intent to marry. Now, don't get me wrong. You absolutely are going to chase some dudes away, but you're going to chase dudes away that are going to waste your time, waste your energy, and not give you what you want. And ultimately, if you have the relationships, life in general, really simple. Understand what your non-negotiables are and then never negotiate them. But you got to be honest about your non-negotiables. If you got a woman and she wants monogamy and her dude is cheating on her, and I'm not saying that people can't make mistakes, but I'm saying if the constitution of the dude or is that they're liars and cheaters, and that's not what you want, the minute you take him back, what you're saying is that this behavior is acceptable. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that people can't make mistakes. What I'm saying is when the mistake is made again, or the Constitution, you see what the Constitution of someone, who they really are. And there's nothing wrong with not being monogamous, not wanting that, not wanting to be responsible for somebody in that way. You just got to be honest about it. And if you're honest about it, then nobody can tell you that you're a horrible person because you told them. We are all adults. We get to make decisions the way we want to make decisions. We get to ask for what we want. Now, sometimes we're not worthy of what we're asking, and you'll find that out. You will absolutely find that out when you start asking for what you want. Because if you're asking for what you want and you're not getting it, there's a reason why you're not getting it. You may even be worthy of it, but not know how to package your product. And if you don't know how to package your product, absolutely, DanteNero.com. Click on consult. We know I know how to do it. I'll teach you how to do it. But the point is, you gotta have a big shout out to Jonathan, man. Jonathan, thank you so much for the $20. On the Cash App. I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all supporting me on this. I mean, because I really do give a fuck about this and try my best to give the best advice and dig into the things that I've learned. Not only that, but the mistakes that I've made myself so that you don't have to make those mistakes. But yeah, you may be worthy and not know how to package it. Two things that men are supposed to be good at without any practice is relationships and sex. And how do you get good at anything? There's only one way to get good at things, is by practice. And trust me, you're going to screw it up. You will screw it up. You will make mistakes. Understand that. But if you're going in this knowing that you will make mistakes, if you play basketball, you don't just always, nobody becomes Chef Curry out the gate. I mean, you may have a knack for it, but we're talking about thousands and thousands of shots in order for a dude to have that kind of accuracy where it's almost muscle memory. The same is true with relationships. We get into situations in relationships And we put ourselves in a situation where we don't want to be, we're not happy with it, but because we don't think that we're worthy, right? Because we don't think we're worthy, we will settle for less. And I'm not saying that you can't settle for less, but just understand that that's what you're doing. Because if you have to upgrade, if you got to level up, then you got to level up in a way that is, in a way you got to figure out what the deficiencies are and then fix those deficiencies. Shout out to Jonathan. Thanks so much for the Cash App. I appreciate you, bro. Tavares sent me this. Dante, you're so dope. Over the years, I've listened to your content, and it's the real deal. Continue to keep it 100. Yo, continue to spread the word. Tell motherfuckers, I'm doing this, man. I'm putting my time and effort to get this content out, and I'm cutting it up and pass and share, like and share, and turn people on. We're gonna start a movement because I really think there needs to be a movement. Really, really think there needs to be a movement because it's just trash. There's so much inconsistency with your thinking, and what you don't understand is when a woman will perceive inconsistency as deception, and deception will make you untrustworthy. Untrustworthy is never attractive. Somebody that's going to play you or treat you, that is never a turn on. Unless, of course, I shouldn't say that, because unless you're into you're a masochist, or you want to be abused, which that happens too. But even that happens in a situation because of trauma that we've gone through. We go through this trauma as children. Let's be honest. Can we just be honest for 1 minute? Very rarely do we have parents that know what the hell they're doing. They have kids and they figure it out. They have their own trauma and they never fix their own trauma. They don't have guidance. They're not introspective. This is the way I did it. My mama did it this way. This is the way I'm doing it. And then even then there's a lack of consistency. It doesn't make sense. I remember when I was a kid how if you were housebreaking a dog, right? The dog crapped in the house, people would say, rub his nose in it, which is a way of conditioning the dog by saying, look, you did this, and so there's something bad happens to you because you did this, right? But what we're also asking a dog to do is to discern the difference in terms of time, space, area. This place is good, this place is not. You're asking them to logically figure out what the message is. I mean, yes, if you rub their nose in it, it could be that you're vindictive. Especially if the dog is crapped at 3:00 and you get home at 6:00, he has not discerned the fact that the correlated the same thing. This is something that you have to teach, and you got to teach. The breadcrumbs that you leave out to teach people in the program have to be relevant, have to be simple. The same thing is true with human beings. If I'm talking to somebody, I'm dating somebody, and they're not doing what I want them to do, I definitely will have a conversation of this is what I expect. But the second time it happens, after I've had the conversation, we're not having the conversation again. Like, why would we? What you are communicating with me is that you do not want to do what I want you to do. We're not simpatico. We're not on the same page. Now, I'm not saying that there's not compromise. I mean, I talk about this all the time. Anybody and everybody who's listening today, when this live is over, look up the word compromise. What the compromise means is that neither party gets all of what they want. Both parties compromise. Both parties benefit, but both parties come. The deal that you cut is neither party is completely happy with a compromise. Compromise doesn't mean that my girl wants me to do something. I I take all of what I am to be all of what she wants me to be, do it, and then I shut the hell up. That's not what a compromise is. And vice versa. But if you're honest about what you're willing to do, what you're willing not to do, in the context of how you see yourself, and you're honest, you can also discern if a compromise can be made. Because sometimes it can't. You get a chick, you have a dude and his girl is cheating on him, right? I don't even say it's funny because back in the days, Kevin Samuels, our Lord and Savior, he used to say, men don't cheat, they just access options. How is that any different from women? The point is you're accessing options and you're communicating something with the way in which you're accessing options. And I get to say, do I want to put up with this or don't? Do I want to be in a situation where I feel neglected and abused? And if you stay, that, trust me, I don't know what you think is going on, but that is your answer. Your answer is yes, that I subscribe to this in which what we're talking about. I subscribe to the fact that I am fine with the way that I'm treated. That's what you're saying. And that goes for men, women, and everything in between. And here's the thing, I absolutely say this to men, anybody that's getting married. If you're getting married, be clear, right? Because a lot of times women want the wedding, but they don't want the marriage. If you're in a marriage, right? Or you're getting ready to get married, even before you get engaged, you got to say, listen, if we get married, you want monogamy from me, right? If you want monogamy from me, I'm expecting you to have sex with me and to take care of me sexually for the rest of your life. Do you understand that that's what you're signing up for? Because if you don't take care of me, trust me, I'm going to find somebody to fulfill my needs. And I understand that that's a difficult thing to say, especially when the bubbles is blowing and the hearts are flying around and everything. But understand something, that you're making a contract. And if you don't say it, right, your assumption is that somebody would understand that. And they might not. I had the wedding, I spent the wedding, wore the white dress, we had a great honeymoon, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not a sexual person like that. I don't want to get down like that. And if you are, and it's nobody's fault. It's just sometimes people are not compatible. They can be compatible in everything else. And unless you want to be in a sexless marriage, 50% of all marriages in America is sexless. Unless you want to be in a sexless marriage, then you got to speak up. There's nothing wrong with you saying what you want. Because trust me, women are going to tell you what they want. If you aren't good enough, if you ain't tall enough, if you don't make enough money, if you're not a good provider, if you're not handsome enough, if you don't know how to speak, if you don't, whatever it is, women are going to be very clear about what they want, and they don't have a problem saying it. The problem is guys who come from the deficit side of it, where they're going, I got this girl, I don't know if I'll ever get another one, right? So I'm gonna stick this out and hope for the best. You're literally putting your life on a lotto ticket. If you have somebody who's not sexual now, right? They absolutely ain't gonna be sexual later. I'm one of my family members was getting married. I don't even know if we got the same DNA the way he simps his way through. He was getting married, and already they were dating for a while, and the sex, they didn't have no kids or nothing, and the sex was already dwindling away. And he was like, yo, I think I'm gonna get engaged. And I'm like, why? I go, you're not happy now. Well, it took me so long to get this girl. I don't think I'll get another one. I was like, wow. Wow. I can't believe that we got the same blood flowing in between. And the thing was, I was teaching, but it didn't matter because he didn't want to hear what I had to say. His mom had put him in a situation where he didn't think he was worthy of it. If he didn't pull the trigger on this, he would never get another chance. And I'm saying he was a good-looking, handsome dude. One of my family members. I'll give him the anonymity, even though he doesn't deserve it. But man, and sure enough, as soon as they got married, shut it down. You know when this relationship got sexual? When she wanted a kid. Knocked her up, boom, 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 shut it down. Wanted another kid. She got frisky again, got the kid, shut it down. And then what happens is you get into this situation, you're in this relationship where you're tiptoeing around what your wants and needs are, and then you spend years and years and years holding on to something that's never going to happen because you didn't speak up in the first place. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Don't forget also, don't forget the Patreon. Y'all, Patreon is, show it, let me get it up. Patreon.com/manschool202. We do bonus content along with the podcast that we do already. Also, don't forget the one-on-one consultations. DanteNero.com. Click on consult. You can get me and talk to me directly. We can deal with your specific situation. And a lot of this has a lot to do with family trauma. Not really understanding how I feel inadequate about my life and why. Because somebody who we perceive as our parents, who the overall, the gatekeepers of who we become as human beings, as adults, we're listening to them, and then we're not even scrutinizing and saying to them, well, what are you? What makes you think you got it together and you don't have it together? You know how many times I've consulted with guys who have single parents and single mothers, and I go, your mother, I'm assuming your mother's, she says you ain't shit. She says you're not a real man, or you're not this or that. I would assume that she's in a great relationship with a great man that respects her and loves her, and it's amazing to watch them. And everybody goes, nope, not at all. Exactly. So if you can't execute any level of success on your own, how are you telling me what to do? So many young dudes I see often where they are being judged by a bitter woman or a father who didn't create success, didn't work hard, was a drunk or was on drugs or whatever. And because he felt less about himself, he put on a stigma on his own kid that the kid couldn't shake. Phone lines are up, 929-269-4922. You know, the Cash App is up. The Patreon consultations after this will be popping. They always are popping after I spit this fire, and then y'all start mulling around and marinating about this. He's talking about me. But understand this too. I'm here to help you, because the bottom line is, I've been in that situation. Absolutely made mistakes. My father was jealous of me and gave me the business. I thought he didn't like me. Here's when I realized that he liked me, is on his funeral. All of the people who he gave time and energy to told me, man, your father was so proud of you. Really? Because I couldn't tell. I never did the right thing. I never was enough. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't about me. It was about his personal insecurity. And because I was taught that this is your father, this is who you look up to, this is the pinnacle of manhood, I didn't even have the ability to critique him as a human being. Forget about him being my father, but to critique him as a human being was difficult for me. And so I just thought something was wrong with me. I just assumed that he knew what was going on. I assumed that he understood how women think. I just assumed that he understood how relationships think. I just assumed that he understood that truth was. Now, don't get me wrong. He absolutely told me that if you give your word, you keep your word. What is a man without his word? He did say that. And he always used to say to me, tell me the truth. I don't care what you do, you tell me the truth. You never get a spanking, you never get whipped for telling the truth. Which always wasn't the truth. But I mean, it definitely instilled in me the importance of truth. He kind of, he found a loophole in, in me telling the truth and still getting at me. But you have to understand, and here's a crazy dynamic that as I became more successful, my father felt inadequate about himself. And because he felt inadequate about himself, he kept emotionally cutting my legs out from under me. Almost like I was in a competition that I didn't even know I was in a competition. Phone lines are open 929-269-4922. But I'm testimony that you can come out the end of that. You can come out the other side of that and be okay. All of this stuff is fixable. Because whether you realize it's not in the past, the things that you're feeling, the inadequacies, the insecurities that you're feeling, are because somebody programmed you to feel that. But understand, you're not that 9-year-old kid. You're not that 6-year-old kid. You're not that 10-year-old kid. You're not that 14-year-old kid who has somebody who is older, more mature, and more manipulative to make you feel as though you're not worthy. When this live is finished, I want y'all, everybody who's listening, take some time to think about your mother and your father and remove them from the fact that you're related to them, that it is your mother and father, and assess them as human beings. Were they disciplined? How smart were they? Were they great in relationships? Were they honest? Did they keep their word? Were they empathetic about other people? And the same way I ask those questions every single time that I do a consultation, as I ask this, one of the first questions I ask is, how many friends do you have that you can say, honestly, practice authenticity, credibility, and empathy? Not wholesale, not when they feel like it. That the constitution of who they are is that they tell the truth, they keep their word, and they have empathy for other people, and they understand that other people have not gone through the same things that they've gone through. Let me look at the comments, because I don't know why y'all not calling in. The number's up, 929-4922. I'm sorry, 929-269-4922. Phone lines are open. Guys will scoff at you for not being a simp. They'll assume you don't respect women because you don't let them walk all over. Absolutely. But a lot of times what they're doing is they're trying to, well, I'm different. I'm different than those guys. I'm different. I'm those guys. That guy's mean. It's not mean. You can want what you want. You can like what you want. You can have your preference. I ask people all the time, like, what kind of ice cream you like? You like chocolate? Why? Nobody has ever given me a reason why. They tried, but it's just what you like. It is at the core of who you are, and this is how you respond to something. It's the same way that you respond to women. You know, if you get to have an opinion. And it's okay for her to have an opinion. This is the crazy thing. This is when you get guys who are physically abusive or whatever. It's because they don't want her to have an opinion. And when you flip, it's real. Empathy is real easy. All you got to do is turn it over. This is where it is. You turn it over. How does this look to me? How do I feel? How would I feel if somebody did this to me? And don't get me wrong, man. I'm not in no shape or form am I saying that women will hold themselves to the same accountability. Man, that don't matter. I had an argument with one of my best friends. Shout out to my boy Kareem Green, comic, and he was telling me how he loves Charleston White, and I'm like, Charleston White's a clown. He goes, well, he said, he was trying to do the right thing, and then Charleston White, he was trying to do the right thing, and then he decided he would go the other way, and when he did, that's when he blew up on the internet. What you telling me is the dude's a liar. At the core of who he is deceptive. He's a liar. So what do I say about being a liar? Why is truth so important? Truth is important because once you lie, you have no credibility. So even when you're telling the truth, it don't matter. When you tell your girl you love her, how does she know it's the truth? When you tell her you got your back, how does she know? If you have kids and you're not truthful to them, and you're not credible and you don't keep your word, how do they feel safe that what you say is the truth? You can't. How do we know that? We know based on the Constitution. Let's go Cards 04. Let me put up his message. This is interesting. He says, I'm 27. It took me until this year to fully understand how disappointed I am in my father's lack of effort in my life. He didn't teach me shit. I don't know. I know I'm not the only one like that. This platform is so important. This is the second part. This platform is so important for some of us. Big thanks to Dante, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for recognizing that what I'm trying to do. But I want to, now that you said that, let me give you a little something to think, little something for the file cabinet, right? Understand this. As much as that he may not have done this, a lot of times people don't have the emotional or the intellectual capacity to do so. Why? Because this is who your father was, who was his father to him? We're at a really weird time in society where the acquisition of happiness is a new thing. Man, and I'm telling you, immigrant parents, they are the worst. Like, when you talk about, like, one of my best friends is fucking Godfrey and Nigerian and African parents is like, look, why do they excel in academics the way they do is because their parents is on them. They say, don't nothing matter other than you getting those books. And I'm not saying that that's not important. Education is important. The understand of logic, the understand of reasoning, all of those things you don't, it's very difficult to get those things on your own. As per my bookshelf, you got to read, you got to want to know stuff. But the reality is that a lot of times our parents didn't have the experience or the wherewithal to even understand the concepts that we're talking about right now. It's crazy. And so as much as we might be damaged or go through trauma because of that, you got to forgive them. Understand this, not holding that kind of poison, that kind of toxicity in your system is giving people an opportunity to hurt you. You're allowing them to take up space and energy in your head so that you can't grow, so that you can't be better. You don't do that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that they should be living that kind of pain from people who didn't even have the intellectual they didn't even have the intellectual wherewithal to even understand that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it is, I get it. Phone lines open, 929-269-4922. We gone like an hour and 19. I think we're gonna go up. I think I'm gonna do an hour and 30, and then we're gonna be out. I don't know. I don't know if I like the Thursday, man. Let me know in the chat what are y'all thinking about us switching the Thursday, the Sunday, to the Thursday. I don't know. The numbers are okay, but I just don't feel like y'all are in it like you usually in it. You know, and that's okay, man. We'll figure out the we together will figure out the chemistry of this and how it's gonna work and how we'll figure it out. Cash App's up. Let me give you the banners real quick. Don't forget to follow the Patreon. Patreon is very important. Patreon gives you a lot of fundamental stuff that I don't really, and technical stuff that I go, got a phone call. Let's get this. Come on now. What's your number? What's your name? Where you calling from, bro?
What's up, Dante? This is Jihad from Delaware.
What up, Jihad? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I've been meaning to call you for a break now, but like.
Listen, are you on a speakerphone, or are you talking into the phone?
I have my headphones on. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, let me. I want to hear what you got to say. So.
Is it better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, cool. Sorry, my chair's speaking. I'm just chilling. I've been meaning to call you for a break now, mainly because like I've been listening to you for so long, and I kind of feel like, I enjoy mostly the philosophy part of it.
You breaking up, though. You got to speak a little louder and a little clearer. I'm trying to hear what you got to say.
All right, hold on. Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit better, but just make sure you speak clear.
Okay, sorry. I've been listening to you for a while now, and I just figured I would call you because I enjoy the philosophical part of what you be saying most of the time.
Right.
I don't really have no issues with the girls that I'm dealing with or anything like that. I just like to know, like, when did you know that, like, you wanted to help people? Because I know, like, you talk to retreats and stuff and, like, stuff like that. And, like, I always find, like, the way you offer yourself to other people, it almost seems like a bona fide gesture, So I just wanted to know, like,
okay, this is gonna be an interesting answer, and then I think I'm gonna shut it down after this because I think I'm gonna have to shut it down after this. Understand this, that even in generosity is selfishness. Okay, do you hear what I said? Okay. Let me explain that. As much as it makes me feel good to know that I'm helping somebody and I am giving guidance to people who don't have somebody to give that guidance, that's dope. But what y'all don't understand is what you give me back. And so I'm gonna be clear about this, right? Mm-hmm. Every time I brush my teeth in the morning, I get up, I get to look in the mirror and I get to go, that guy in that mirror is dope. That guy helps people. That guy has every day, or in my DMs or otherwise, or the shorts that I have on Instagram or the what, I get a message every day. Dante, this is the dopest shit ever. You changed my life. As a man, what else could you possibly want, right? But to make a difference. A man who doesn't make a difference in life is a man that like, what was your life for? Understand something. I'm not a spiritual person. I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. Whatever you think about that. I mean, I don't have a problem with talking about that too. But and being an atheist means to me that I just have never had enough evidence for me to say that I would think that there's something else beyond this.
Can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
So basically, you're an agnostic.
I mean, I think making the distinction is unimportant. Yeah. The point is, if somebody can show me evidential proof that is the case. So, but my point of that is that what I have right now, this life that I have right now, is what I got. And it's important to me. Every day is important. How I affect people every day is important, because I'm not looking for I'm not getting ready to, coast through this life so that I can enjoy the next one. I'm enjoying this one right now, and I want to make my mark and affect people. So that's the selfish part of it. But the understand something. It's funny, but like couple of lives ago, we had a guy who called me Red Bill. He wasn't being mean, but he called me Red Pill, and he was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you know, you are you because of who you was a pimp, you was this." But what you don't understand is that I went through the same pain. When I talk about this, when I talk about the lack of attention and the lack of time and energy that my dad spent with me, simply because he spent it. Now, my father was an extraordinary dude. You don't believe me? If you're a Brooklyn dude or you're in New York, he has a street named after him. He has a park named after him because he was so dynamic in other people's lives. And I'm not going to say he wasn't dynamic in my life, because I wouldn't be the guy that I am. But when I became smarter, when I became stronger, when I became faster, when I became tougher, he saw us as a competition, and he just wasn't there. He spent all his time and energy on everybody else. And so I know what it is. Understand this. I know what it is to not have that dude. I know what it is to not have that guidance. I know what it is. Now, the foundation that my dad gave me was the thing that helped me navigate it. And I love him and I appreciate him for that. But understand, I know that. And like I said, empathy is the thing where it's pointing out at everybody else. And when you turn around and look at it, right, that's what you know. And I know what kind of pain I was in trying to navigate this stuff, and not having somebody who was older, who had experience, who had said yes, and who had tried different things and made mistakes. I didn't have that. So I had to kind of figure it out. And why would I have that energy and not give it to somebody else? You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's
the answer. The reason why I asked that question is because, like, I'm in a situation with a girl who's like, she's been through like a lot of trauma and stuff like that. And like, obviously I'll call back or like even get a consultation later. But the main thing for me is like, a lot of people don't understand why like I'm able to thug it out in the way that I do. And it's mainly just because like I'm not doing it for any reason other than the fact that I want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like on some like, you know, like how you say like lay the 5 bricks, but like don't do it for like an outcome. Just do it mainly because you find something interesting about that person.
Yeah.
This girl in particular, like, she does that for me, which is, you know, kind of crazy because like I've been in a bunch of situations, but I feel like her passion is the thing that makes me the most interested in her.
I mean, that's dope, but let me just keep this in mind. If you're trying to lift somebody up and they don't want to be lifted up, there's a reason. They have a plan to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you, unbeknownst to you, their plan is to fail. So everything that you do to help them, if they're not taking it with open arms and lifting up and making real change, understand that that's purposeful.
Yeah.
They want to lose.
Yeah.
And if they want to lose, you're not going to stop them, because in order for you to stop them from losing, you have to sacrifice yourself. So I help people, but to the same way that I help people, I cut them loose quick. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right, family.
Have a good
Appreciate you calling, bro.
Bye.
What is this? What is coming up? What is going on here? Why is this ringing? I got a little more time for one more call. Somebody came in and I didn't get the chance to click over the phone, but the phone is not ringing right now. I don't know what's going on with this. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to shut this down. Everything's tripping. Let me shut the calls down real quick. We will be live again. Tuesday night. I might do Sunday I'm not gonna do. But Tuesday night we'll be live at 8:30. Coming out of the Gas Studio. Don't forget the consultations. DanteNero.com. Click on consult one-on-one consultations. You'll know what to do real quick. Patreon is www.patreon.com/manschool. Again, you know what it is. Those who are on it, it also helps us support us. You know, we can help move this movement. Y'all know what the Cash App is. It's right there. I appreciate y'all. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. Yo, I love y'all, man. Keep calling. Keep supporting each other. I'm going to set up that Reddit and the Discord so y'all can, you know, kind of talk on your own and kick it back and forth. I'm working on the book. And the T-shirts and the merch will be up, I think, in a week and a half tops. I love y'all, man. Please, peace. Be out and be safe. All right? 1.